Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Sitting in for Pinky Webb, I'm Menchu Makapagal. Today on the program, a senator clarifies his comment on Korean dramas, but calls on Filipinos to support the local entertainment industry. The Supreme Court is set to hold oral arguments on the postponement of barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan polls. And the country starts deporting illegal POGO workers. Senator Jinggoy Estrada joins us live. A senator clarifies that he has no plan to propose a ban on Korean dramas and other foreign-made programs to support the local entertainment industry. The lawmaker says he was only airing his frustration over the preference of some Filipinos for foreign content over locally made ones. He urges the public to show the same intensity of support to local artists in an industry that he says, quote, is barely surviving. Let's go straight to the source. All right, let's go straight to the source of the story, Senator Jinggoy Estrada. Hello, Senator. Thank you for taking the time to join us today.
Yeah, good morning, Menchu, to all televiewers of CNN Philippines. Magandang umaga po.
All right, Senator, everyone was in an uproar yesterday when they heard that you had thought of proposing a ban on Korean dramas. But then you issued a new statement saying you were just airing your frustration over the lack of support for locally made content. So to be clear, are you or are you not proposing to ban Korean dramas in foreign shows?
Thank you, Menchu, for this opportunity. First of all, if you would review the video clip during the budget hearing of the Film Development Council of the Philippines, what I said is that it crossed my mind. I never said that I will ban Korean telenovelas. And that is very, very clear. It just crossed my mind because I said that out of frustration. I just would like to make it clear.
But then, of course, Senator, you're in the position to be able to push for something like that to happen. So I guess, do you understand why people would be more frustrated or more react a certain way?
I do not have any plans of pursuing it. I do not have any plans of filing a resolution banning Korean telenovelas. Because first of all, ang unang magagalit sa akin dyan yung nanay ko. because she is an avid fan of Korean telenovelas.
Okay, and how about you, Senator? Have you ever tried watching Korean or K-dramas?
For your information, I have never watched any episode of any Korean telenovela. All right. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, we won't hold it against you, Senator. But you said you don't have any plans of banning it. If not ban, ano po yung nakikita niyong win-win solution?
Una-una, kailangan siguro ma-improve yung ating entertainment industry. Our entertainment industry needs all the support that they can get, especially from the government sector and the private sector.
All right, we'll talk more about that a little bit later on. But you know, some people on social media have been saying they have tried watching locally produced content, but it makes it very difficult for them because nga, as you said, the quality, the pacing of the storytelling leaves a little bit to be desired. So you agree with that opinion?
Well, yes, partially I agree and partially I disagree.
Okay. How do you disagree, sir?
Well, I disagree because, you know, we have a lot of talented directors, talented cinematographers, talented actors and actresses. No, siguro we have to learn a lot about how to help our entertainment industry from the Koreans themselves. No, actually, I have already researched. No, there are 10 things that South Korea is doing that's helping their entertainment industry. Maybe we can study it and implement it here in our country.
What
in
are some
order
of-
for our movie industry to para bumalik ang sigla ng ating industriya ng Pilipino.
What are some of the key points that you found during your research that you can share with us, sir?
Well, first of all, we have to impose, in Korea, they impose a screen quota. Meaning to say, in many countries, a big threat to the local film industry is for our foreign films. And that is very true. Particularly ones from here, from Hollywood. No, these films have huge commercial appeal, huge production budgets that results in flashy and more attractive visuals, as compared to our movies here. And domestic films, usually our films here, usually gets bypassed in favor of these Hollywood movies. And since theaters are only interested in profits, they tend to prioritize showing these foreign films at the cost of limiting showings for our local films.
But don't we
In
kind of...
Korea,
Yes.
the government tries to protect the local industry by imposing a screen quota, which mandates each theater in the country to screen domestic films for at least 146 days a year.
Okay.
I think that is a very, very progressive move, no? Unlike here in our country, pag mayroong pinalabas na local film, pag hindi na kumita na isang araw, tatanggalin na. Yun ang sinasabing first day, last day,
Okay.
which is quite awkward.
Okay.
So, kailangan siguro, gayahin natin, maglagay tayo ng screen quota. Lahat ng mga movie houses natin sa Pilipinas, kailangan magpalabas ng local film at least half of the year.
But don't we kind of do that already during the Christmas season with the Metro Manila Film Festival?
Oh, that's only 10 days. That's only 2 weeks. That's only 14 days.
Okay. But viewership is not that high pa rin, even during the 10 days that you said. So why do you think...
Because we experienced pandemic
okay.
during the last 2 years. But before the pandemic, malakas yung Metro Manila Film Festival. And in fact, Menchu, in the early 90s, siguro hanggang 1995 or 1998, we were producing around 200 to 300 films. Unlike right now, we've been producing only around 30 to 50 films at the most. At lahat yan, most of all the movies that have been produced are indie films. Halos wala nang mainstream films. Panay independent movies na lang.
So you're
And that's
proposing
the sad part of it.
yung screen cap parang yung sa Korea. Do you also agree with your colleague Senator Robin Padilla na taasan yung tax for foreign content?
Well, siguro kailangan muna natin pag-aralan mabuti yan.
Okay. Well,
We have to study it further.
instead of criticizing the penchant for foreign content, shouldn't the government extend the same kind of support and funding to the industry? You were saying earlier nga na dapat taasan yung support the way other countries support their content in order to make it more appealing to a wider local and global audience. And if that's the case, how can they do that?
Well, that is what I was asking for. That was what I was begging for. That our government subsidize some of our movies, especially those quality movies that are being produced by our producers.
But I guess the question would
And
be...
in fact,
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
if I may state the 10 things that South Korea has been doing that's helping their entertainment industry. I have already mentioned the first one, no? To impose a screen quota. Number 2, they launched a Korean Film Council, which we have right now. Yung counterpart natin yung Film Development Council of the Philippines. Number 3, they are hosting a lot of international film festivals. Okay? One is the Busan International Film Festival, the Jeonju International Film Festival, and the largest one was the Busan Film Festival. And number 4, preserve the original film without censorship. Let me explain. Creativity is encouraged in Korea's film industry, and it shows in their approach to censorship. Wala silang pinuputol. No, it is up to the producers to show it. These films have maraming mga nababan na mga pelikula. There's also examples of extremes in Kim Ji-woon's I Saw the Devil, and who could forget Park Chan-wook's Old Boy, which featured incest themes, eating a live octopus in camera. These films would have been banned or heavily censored in some countries, but not in South Korea. Their approach is that instead of censoring or cutting the scenes out, they allow it to be preserved the way the director intended, and just depend on the MTRCB system to ensure that they won't be seen as by impressionable people of a certain age.
Okay, so bawal...
So as a matter of fact, yung KMRB nila, yung Korean Media Ratings Board, ang counterpart nila sa atin, yung MTRCB, does not actually have any authority on date cuts. They can only designate ratings, and it is up to the filmmakers to censor or to cut their own films.
So that's different
if they are
from...
going for a specific...
That's very different from the process that we follow here.
Yes. Number 5, provided funding. One of the biggest stumbling blocks for animation studios has always been funding. It takes a lot of money to start a full-length feature, but there's no guarantee of the return of investment. So investors are not likely to risk it.
All right.
And getting bank loans is equally difficult.
Pero very quickly lang...
the South Korean government...
Yes, sir. Sorry to...
The South Korean government aims to alleviate this problem by investing a total of 380 billion won in kanilang currency as seed money for the country's domestic animation and character industries. I think we cannot afford that. Siguro kahit konti makapagbigay ng ating gobyerno ng malaking tulong dito sa ating movie industry.
So very quickly lang, sir, what sort of legislation are you thinking para mabigyang... What sort of legislation? Because these are your suggestions based on the South Korean model. So kung i-translate natin yan dito sa Pilipinas, knowing that we're short on funds and all of that, what sort of legislation are you thinking para mabigyang suporta talaga yung local industry?
Well, siguro first of all, yung funding. Siguro kailangan dagdagan natin yung funding sa Film Development Council of the Philippines to give more incentives sa ating mga producer, sa ating mga director, sa ating mga artista para makapag-produce na naman sila ng quality films.
All right. So we are going to be taking a short break. Yes?
The problem boils down to funding eh. Yun naman ang problema eh.
Okay, so thank you for your thoughts on this topic. Again, as I said, we're going to be taking a short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Menchu Macapagal. Our guest, Senator Jinggoy Estrada. Senator, the Supreme Court will hold oral arguments on Friday regarding barangay and SK polls postponement. Are you confident that the High Court will uphold the postponement?
Yes, I am very, very confident about it. I think, in my opinion, being a non-lawyer, I think it is only Congress who can move or postpone or cancel the date of the barangay and SK elections.
Well, you are one of the authors of the postponement, no? So can you tell us your biggest reason why you want to defer the elections? Kasi the COMELEC says the postponement actually entails more cost instead of savings. Your reaction?
Alam mo, kagaling lang natin sa isang eleksyon, no? Pangalawa, we are still in the period of the pandemic. Sa akin naman, imbis na i-google natin yung pera para sa isang eleksyon, sa barangay eleksyon, i-google na lang natin sa ibang bagay katulad ng pagtulong sa mga mahirap, yung mga nawawalan ng trabaho, bigyan ng trabaho. Siguro, that is my point.
Okay.
Siguro the elections can wait until next year. Wala naman masama ron.
Pero sir, sinabi po ng COMELEC sir, mas mapapamahal po kasi yung pera na nailaan for this year's elections ay actually it's already been allocated, and for next year they're going to need a new allocation for that. So your thoughts?
It's just the same. It's just the same and true. Kung if they are spending funds right now, pwede naman yung ginastos na nila ngayon, pwede naman nilang gastusin ulit next year. I mean, ano ba yung ginagastos nila ngayon? Pag-print ng balota, hindi naman sila nagpiprint pa ng balota dahil wala pa naman yung filing of COCs ng mga kandidato. I don't believe in it.
All right. Well, poll watchdogs argue that the postponement will deprive voters of changing their leaders. Is it constitutional to postpone the elections when officials are supposed to be elected and not be in a holdover capacity?
I still believe that Congress has the power to postpone or to cancel the barangay and SK elections. And for me, I think that will be the last postponement.
All right. Let's move to the on the deportation of illegal Chinese POGO workers. That has actually begun. At least 6 have been deported. Do you think there should be more?
Of course. Bakit 6 lang? I mean, there are a lot of illegal POGOs operating here, operating in our country. I believe there are a lot of illegal workers, Chinese workers, working in our country without any documents. So palagay ko kulang yung 6.
So, Senator, who should shoulder the costs of deportation? Do we even have the budget for this?
That I do not know. I'm not privy to it. Maybe you can ask the Department of Justice or the Bureau of Immigration and Deportation.
All right. What is your stand personally on POGO? Do you think that it should be permanently banned or implement reforms?
First of all, as I've said before during my interviews, I am for legal POGO operating in our country. Yung mga illegal, yun ang kailangan i-deport yung mga workers. But yung sa legal POGO operators, kailangan they have to employ around 60 to 70% Filipino workers para naman mabigyan ng trabaho yung ating mga kababayan.
Well, economists are saying now that the promised benefits of POGO have really not materialized and the social costs are not really worth it. Your stand on that or your reaction to that, sir?
Well, I did not attend the meeting of the Committee on Ways and Means, so I do not know how much taxes are they paying. But I've heard that they've been paying billions of pesos to the government. Basta ako stand ko dyan to give more jobs for our Filipino workers.
Well, you're right. Now they say that billions could potentially be lost if in revenue, if totally mawawala yung POGO. How do you see government offsetting those potential losses?
Well, I do not have any idea, frankly speaking.
All right.
Kasi marami rin ang mawawalan ng trabaho kapag sinara mo yung pagka binan mo yung POGO, yung mga POGO operators. No? I think there are a lot of Filipino workers who will be displaced.
All right. We'll be taking...
At ngayon, kailangan during this time of pandemic, kailangan ng trabaho yung ating mga kababayan tapos biglang mawawala.
All right. We'll take a short break again.
That is my big worry.
This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Menchu Makapagal. Our source today, Senator Jinggoy Estrada. Senator, last September, you said you wanted to penalize fake news peddlers and clickbait stories. Kamusta na po itong proposal po ninyo?
Well, it has been referred to the appropriate committee, and maybe in November we will start some hearings with regard to the bill that I filed. That is Senate Bill number 1296, an act criminalizing the creation and dissemination of fake news for the protection from online falsehoods and manipulation. Amending for the purpose Republic Act number 10175, otherwise known as the Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012.
So, by November, magkakaroon na kayo ng mga hearings for this, sir? Matatakal na to. Sino po magli-lead?
Well, it was referred to, I'm not sure if it's the Committee on Public Services. If it's the Committee on Public Services, that is headed by Senator Grace Poe.
All right. Are you confident in the support for this measure, sir?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Well, you also want to look into the alleged favorite supplier of DepEd in terms of laptops and etc. Are there plans to increase the budget for
Excuse me?
Sir, you wanted to look into the alleged favorite supplier of DepEd in terms of the laptops and other equipment? Is that correct,
Yes,
sir?
because during the hearing with regard to the overpriced laptops, one of my questions that I propounded was that to the DepEd official, I forgot who that official was. I said that there were 5 companies who are really being favored by the DepEd. No, first of all, it was ASI, Red Duck, Girl Techie. There are other companies which I forgot already, which are being favored by the DepEd. And they have garnered billions of contracts since 2010. So bakit sila lang? So nakakaduda naman yan.
All right. When do you plan to start the investigation on this issue, sir?
No, it has
already
been
started.
ongoing. I think
Ongoing, sorry.
as we speak, there is an ongoing Blue Ribbon Committee investigation already.
All right. Do you still have plans to increase the budget for the upgrade in learning technology, sir?
Well, if Vice President Sara Duterte seeks to increase the budget of the Department of Education, well, I have no objection about it.
What is your proposal, sir, to make procurement efficient and above board? Kasi sinasabi mo nga, yung mga suppliers nila parang paulit-ulit. Since 2010 hanggang ngayon, parang favored talaga. So, do you have a proposal to make procurement more efficient?
Well, that's why we will have to have an extensive investigation with regard to this bidding, the bidding process. You and I know that there are only 5 companies that seems to be favored by the department since 2010, and that is very, very glaring, and we really have to investigate it extensively.
All right. So you are in the process of investigating the issues with DepEd. So far, ano na po ba yung na-discover to ease the problem?
Well, right now, I have already said my thoughts. I have already brought my concern before the Blue Ribbon Committee. It is up to the chairman of the Blue Ribbon Committee, who happens to be Senator Francis Tolentino, who will submit the committee report of the Blue Ribbon Committee.
How long do you
Right
think?
now, I think there's an ongoing investigation right now.
How long do you think the investigation will go on for, sir? And when do you think we'll be able to get a copy of the recommendations?
I think this is the last hearing already. That's what I heard. We had already 4 hearings of the Blue Ribbon Committee. I think this is the last hearing.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time, Senator Jinggoy Estrada. I know that somebody is trying to get in touch with you. I can hear your phone going off in the background. So thank you very much for joining
not
us
really.
here on The Source. I'm Menchu Makapagal. You're watching CNN Philippines.